No one saw this coming. In a twist that's left fans stunned and social media in complete meltdown, rumors are swirling that rapper Jim Jones got into a violent altercation with his own son during what insiders are calling a highly emotional family breakdown. What started as a private argument allegedly escalated into something far more serious, something that's now sending shockwaves through the hip-hop world. The streets are talking, blogs are buzzing, and the fans? They're torn between disbelief and outrage. While neither Jim nor his son have officially spoken out, leaked reports and alleged eyewitness accounts suggest that tensions have been boiling behind the scenes for months. And now, after this alleged outburst, the family appears to be in complete disarray. Some say this could mark a turning point in Jim Jones' career and public image. Others claim it's just the tip of the iceberg, and that deeper issues within the family are finally spilling out into the public eye. What really happened that night? Was it a heated argument that went too far? Or is there something even darker at play? Stay tuned, because the drama is just getting started. As the rumor mill spun wildly, more pieces of the shocking puzzle began to surface. According to sources close to the family, the tension between Jim Jones and his son had been building up over time. The two had always had a complicated relationship, marked by moments of deep connection followed by long periods of emotional distance. While the public often saw the smiling red carpet appearances and family posts on social media, insiders now claim that behind closed doors, things weren't as picture-perfect as they seemed. It reportedly all started earlier that week when Jim's son, whose name is being withheld for privacy, returned home from a trip with his mother. Sources say the young man came back with a lot on his mind and had been harboring feelings of resentment, particularly about how Jim had allegedly prioritized his career over their personal bond. Tensions exploded when a simple disagreement over household responsibilities spiraled into a full-blown verbal clash. Family members who were present at the time claimed the shouting match could be heard throughout the entire house. One witness described the scene as heartbreaking, saying that emotions ran high and neither Jim nor his son were willing to back down. They both said things they probably didn't mean, the source shared. It was like years of pain coming out in one night. But what happened next is what truly shocked everyone. Allegedly, the argument escalated into a physical confrontation. Sources claim that Jim, in a moment of overwhelming anger, lost control and lunged at his son. While it's still unclear whether actual punches were thrown, the altercation was reportedly intense enough to prompt other family members to step in and separate them. Some claim there was pushing, others insist it didn't go that far, but everyone agrees that the energy in the room turned dangerously aggressive. What makes this incident even more disturbing is how quickly news of it leaked. Within hours, whispers of the fight made their way onto fan pages, and not long after, a blurry audio clip, allegedly recorded by someone in the house, began circulating online. The clip, though muffled, clearly captured raised voices and what sounded like furniture being knocked over. Fans immediately began speculating about what went down, with many expressing shock and concern. Others were quick to point fingers, blaming either Jim for failing as a father or his son for being disrespectful. On social media, the reaction was swift and divided. Hashtags like #JimJonesDrama and #FamilyFallout began trending. One fan tweeted, "I can't believe this. Jim Jones always talked about loyalty and family. But now this." Another wrote, "We don't know what really happened. Don't judge without the full story." The online world was ablaze, and it seemed like everyone had an opinion. But for those closest to the situation, this wasn't just another viral scandal. It was a deeply personal crisis. A longtime friend of the family revealed that Jim had been under immense stress lately, dealing with both personal issues and pressures from the industry. "He's been stretched thin," the friend explained, "and sometimes when people are hurting, they lash out." That doesn't make it right, but it does explain how something like this could happen. Meanwhile, Jim's son reportedly left the house that same night. Sources say he packed a bag and went to stay with his mother, refusing to speak to his father or answer his calls. The silence between them has reportedly continued for days, leaving those close to the family deeply worried. "It's not just about what happened that night," one source said. "It's about everything that's been building up over the years. This could really break their relationship for good." Fans, too, have been voicing their concerns, not just about the fight, but about the lack of a public statement. Many are asking why Jim hasn't addressed the incident, especially with rumors spreading like wildfire. Some believe he's staying silent to protect his son's privacy, while others think he's hoping the drama will blow over. But if anything, the silence is only fueling more speculation. Adding fuel to the fire, a former associate of Jim Jones, someone who worked with him during the early days of his career, came forward with claims that this isn't the first time Jim has struggled with controlling his temper. In a now-deleted post, the associate wrote, "Jim's always had a fire in him. Sometimes it's passion, sometimes it's rage. I've seen both." Although the post was quickly taken down, screenshots began circulating, and fans started connecting the dots. Despite the chaos, some members of Jim's inner circle are reportedly trying to mediate and bring the family back together. His longtime partner and confidant, Chrissy Lampkin, is said to be deeply involved in trying to ease tensions. According to those close to her, Chrissy has been in constant contact with both Jim and his son, urging them to talk things through and seek professional help if needed. She loves them both, one insider shared. She just wants peace in the family. But as emotions continue to run high and more layers of the story unfold, it's clear that this isn't something that can be patched up overnight. The incident has sparked broader conversations about father-son dynamics, emotional trauma, and the pressures of fame. Fans are now dissecting old interviews, past lyrics, and even reality TV clips in an attempt to understand the root of the tension. One fan commented on an old video, "You could see the pain behind those smiles. They were never really okay." As the hours turned into days, the media frenzy only grew stronger. Several outlets began reaching out for statements, but so far, both Jim and his representatives have remained silent. In contrast, a family friend posted a cryptic message on Instagram that read, "Sometimes the strongest families are the most broken. Pray for healing." That post alone received thousands of likes and comments, with fans offering prayers and demanding answers all at once. Just as the public began to settle into the idea that they might never know the full truth, an unexpected twist came to light. One of Jim's son's close friends broke their silence and gave a brief emotional interview to a lesser-known podcast. The friend didn't go into specific details, but described the night of the incident as one of the darkest moments in his friend's life. "He didn't deserve what happened," the friend said. "He looked up to his dad, man. That kind of betrayal cuts deep." The podcast clip quickly went viral, reigniting the firestorm and forcing even more people to take sides. Some called for Jim to be canceled, while others pleaded for empathy, insisting that everyone makes mistakes and that the family needed healing, not hate. Amidst all this chaos, Jim's son has remained quiet, posting nothing on social media and reportedly avoiding all public appearances. The silence has only made the mystery deeper and the anticipation even more intense. The situation, already messy and emotionally charged, was about to take yet another unexpected turn. As word of the podcast clip continued to spread, it didn't take long for more people close to the family to start coming forward. Everyone wanted to share their version of the truth, their piece of what really happened that night. The floodgates were officially open, and with every new voice added to the mix, the narrative grew even more twisted, more layered, and far more heartbreaking. Fans who had once been loyal to Jim Jones were now beginning to question the man they thought they knew. One voice that added fuel to the already raging firestorm was that of an anonymous family insider who claimed that this wasn't the first major conflict between Jim and his son. According to them, the two had clashed several times before, but the fights had always been kept quiet. They said the family worked hard to keep everything behind closed doors, especially because Jim was so worried about public perception. He didn't want people seeing his flaws, the source said. He always talked about family first, but in reality, he didn't always live that way. This claim made fans revisit a particular moment from a past reality TV appearance, where Jim's son had seemed withdrawn and uncomfortable on camera. At the time, people thought he was just shy or nervous being in the spotlight. Now, however, that clip was being reshared with captions like, "Look at the pain in his eyes," and "He was crying for help, and no one saw it." Some fans expressed guilt for not noticing the warning signs earlier, while others lashed out at Jim, accusing him of being emotionally abusive for years. The media, always hungry for more drama, latched onto this narrative and ran wild. Headlines like "Troubled History Between Jim Jones and Son Revealed" and "Family Secrets Exposed" began dominating the blogosphere. Talk show hosts began speculating about whether Jim's fame had gotten to his head, whether he had neglected his duties as a father in pursuit of money, music, and fame. People from the music industry started chiming in too, some defending him, others throwing him under the bus. Amid the chaos, Jim finally made a move, but not in the way people expected. Instead of releasing a public statement or addressing the issue directly, he posted a cryptic message to his Instagram story. It read, "Real ones move in silence. I said what I said. We good." Fans were stunned. Many saw it as dismissive and tone-deaf, especially considering how serious the situation had become. Instead of quelling the storm, Jim's post only added more fuel to the fire. Comments poured in within minutes. "This ain't it, Jim. Your son is hurting and you post this?" One fan wrote. Another said, "So disappointed in you. We thought you were different." Even celebrities began to subtly shade Jim, with some unfollowing him on social media and others liking posts that criticized him. The fallout was spreading fast, and it seemed like Jim Jones was quickly becoming a pariah in his own industry. But while the public fumed and speculated, behind the scenes, the situation was even more volatile. According to insiders, Jim's son had started speaking to a therapist after the incident, encouraged by his mother and a close family friend. Those around him were reportedly urging him to stay strong and to take control of his own narrative. He's realizing that he doesn't have to live in his father's shadow anymore. One source said, this could be the beginning of him finding his own voice. In fact, whispers began circulating that Jim's son was considering doing a tell-all interview, not just about the fight, but about his entire upbringing. The idea sent shockwaves through the fan base. If he really did decide to speak out, it could destroy Jim's reputation forever. But some fans believe that it was long overdue. "He deserves to be heard," one fan commented. "He's been silent for too long." As these rumors spread, Jim reportedly became more agitated. Those close to him said he felt betrayed, not just by his son, but by everyone around him. He feels like the world turned on him. A former friend shared, "Like everyone's forgotten all the good he's done. All they care about now is this one moment." Jim's inner circle started shrinking fast. People he'd known for years were suddenly distancing themselves, afraid of getting caught in the crossfire. Meanwhile, Chrissy was doing everything she could to mediate the situation. She reportedly reached out to Jim's son multiple times, asking if he'd be open to sitting down and having a private conversation. Though he didn't respond right away, sources say he didn't completely shut the door either. He's hurt, but he still loves his dad, one insider explained. "It's complicated. It always is with family." Still, the damage was undeniable. Jim was reportedly losing deals left and right. A scheduled appearance at a major music festival was quietly canceled. Brands that had partnered with him began pulling back, worried about the backlash. One brand spokesperson said, "We support artists, but we also have a responsibility to stand against violence, no matter who it involves." The statement didn't name Jim directly, but everyone knew who it was about. In the midst of this chaos, more unexpected twists began to unfold. A former nanny who worked for the family when Jim's son was a child came forward in an emotional TikTok video. She didn't go into specifics but said she wasn't surprised by what happened. "I saw things," she whispered tearfully. "Things that broke my heart. I hope he finds healing." Her video went viral overnight, and suddenly the narrative began shifting again, from outrage to empathy, from anger to concern. People began asking deeper questions. Was this just a single moment of violence, or the result of years of unresolved trauma? Was Jim a villain, or simply a broken man who never dealt with his own issues? Was his son lashing out or finally standing up for himself after years of pain? The lines between victim and aggressor were starting to blur, and fans found themselves conflicted. Still, some held on to hope. One popular comment thread under a viral video said, "Maybe this is rock bottom, and maybe they can rebuild from here." Families fight. It's ugly, but they can still find a way back. Others weren't so forgiving, declaring they were done supporting Jim for good. As emotions continued to spiral and public opinion swung wildly back and forth, both Jim and his son remained publicly silent. No interviews, no live streams, no statements, just silence. It was as if they were both waiting for the storm to pass, or maybe for one of them to finally break. But the story was far from over, because just as things seemed to reach a boiling point, an unexpected visitor arrived at Jim's house late one evening. Someone no one had seen in years, and their arrival was about to change everything. The knock on Jim's door came just after midnight. The house was quiet, the city sleeping, but something about that knock felt heavy, urgent. Jim, who had been sitting in silence in the living room, nursing a drink and scrolling through the never-ending wave of comments about him online, froze. For a second, he didn't move. He thought maybe it was his imagination. But then it came again, 3 slow, deliberate knocks. He got up, heart racing, unsure of who would be showing up at this hour. When he opened the door, his breath caught. Standing there was his estranged brother, someone fans hadn't seen or heard from in years. He wasn't just a sibling, he was once Jim's best friend, his right hand, until something happened that tore them apart. No one knew exactly what caused their fallout. Some said it was money, others said it was pride, but whatever it was, they hadn't spoken in almost 7 years. Jim stared at him, stunned. "What are you doing here?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. His brother stepped inside without waiting for an invitation. "I heard what happened," he said calmly. "And before you ruin your whole life, I thought I'd remind you who you used to be." Jim shut the door and turned around, clearly on edge. "I don't need a lecture." "No, but you need someone who isn't scared of telling you the truth," his brother replied. The tension in the room was thick. These were 2 men who shared blood but carried years of resentment. They sat opposite each other, not speaking for a long moment. Then slowly, the conversation began to unravel layers that had been buried for years. They talked about their childhood, their father, the way Jim always felt the pressure to be the man of the house. His brother reminded him of how they used to dream of success together before fame turned everything sour. "You were never good at admitting when you were wrong," his brother said, "but this is your chance to fix something before it's too late." Jim looked away, biting his lip. "You don't know the full story." "Maybe not," his brother replied, "but I know pain when I see it, and that boy's hurting." "You think I can't see it? He's scared of you, Jim, and whether you like it or not, that's on you." Those words hit hard. Jim didn't say anything for a while. He just sat there quiet, as if trying to process the reality of what he'd become in his son's eyes. Meanwhile, outside the house, paparazzi had started camping out. Someone had leaked Jim's location, and now the front of his home looked like a war zone. Cameras flashing, voices shouting, journalists digging for any sign of movement. When fans online spotted a blurry photo of the mystery visitor at Jim's door, rumors exploded again. Who was this man? What was he doing there? Theories ranged from secret brother to long-lost cousin to even an undercover therapist sent by the family. As speculation mounted, Jim's son was still in hiding. Reports claimed he had been staying with his mother, refusing to take any calls from Jim. But what really shook fans was when he posted a short but powerful message on his private Instagram account. "I'm not okay, but I will be." Those 6 words were enough to send shockwaves through social media. Thousands of people reshared it, offering love and support. The comment section flooded with messages like "Stay strong" and "We believe you." Celebrities began taking sides. One rapper who had collaborated with Jim in the past tweeted, "Royalty ain't about silence, it's about accountability." Others defended Jim, saying the public didn't know the full story and needed to stop tearing down Black fathers. The debate was everywhere, on TV, podcasts, clubhouse rooms, Twitter spaces. Everyone had an opinion, and no one was holding back. In the midst of it all, a new video leaked, grainy and clearly filmed on someone's phone. It showed a heated moment between Jim and his son during a family barbecue last year. The footage captured Jim yelling, slamming a glass on the table, while his son looked visibly shaken. There was no physical contact, but the energy was explosive. Fans dissected every second of the clip. Some called it emotional abuse. Others said it was a family argument blown out of proportion. Either way, it deepened the divide. Back in Jim's house, his brother was still trying to get through to him. "You have a choice right now," he said. "Either keep pretending this isn't your fault, or man up and make it right." Jim rubbed his temples. "You think I don't feel like a failure? You think I wanted this? Then show it," his brother said firmly. "Not to me, to him." As morning crept in, Jim sat alone after his brother left, watching the sunrise. His phone buzzed nonstop. Notifications, missed calls, mentions, headlines. But he ignored them all. Instead, he opened the only message he truly cared about. A photo of his son as a toddler, smiling with chocolate smeared on his face. It was sent by Chrissy with no caption, just the image, a reminder of what used to be, a silent nudge toward redemption. The next day, Jim made a rare move. No tweets, no Instagram posts, no public rants. Instead, he quietly contacted a family counselor who specialized in crisis management and booked an emergency session. It was a small step, but a necessary one. And though the internet didn't know yet, something had shifted. At the same time, his son was going through his own emotional journey. Friends close to him said he'd been journaling every day, trying to process the pain, the betrayal, the confusion. He'd started voice memos too, talking out loud to himself, sometimes crying, sometimes screaming. "It's like therapy," one source said. "He's getting it all out, everything he's kept inside for years." And in one of those recordings, which later got leaked by someone in his circle, he said something that stopped fans in their tracks. "I never hated him. I just wanted him to see me." Those words struck a chord with everyone watching the saga unfold. Suddenly, it wasn't just about a fight. It wasn't just about drama. It was about a broken relationship between a father and a son, two people lost in their own pain, desperately trying to find their way back, if that was even possible. As more pieces of the story came to light, the public's anger began shifting into concern. Memes and cancel posts started to fade, replaced by messages of healing and hope. Influencers began talking about generational trauma, toxic masculinity, and the need for Black families to heal in safe spaces. What began as a scandal was turning into a movement, but not everyone was ready to forgive. Critics pointed out that real accountability required more than silence or therapy appointments. It required action. And Jim, they argued, hadn't done enough. Still, the question on everyone's mind was the same. Would Jim and his son ever reconcile, or was the damage permanent? Just as fans started to think the dust was settling, another unexpected twist surfaced, this time involving a secret recording that threatened to shatter any hope of peace once and for all. The secret recording surfaced just 2 days after Jim booked that emergency counseling session. It was an audio clip, barely 2 minutes long, but the content was explosive enough to reignite the chaos. Fans first heard it on a celebrity gossip page that had built a reputation for leaking real-time drama. The caption simply read, "You won't believe what Jim Jones said behind closed doors. Listen now." Within minutes, the clip went viral. The audio featured Jim's voice, unmistakable and raw. In it, he could be heard venting to someone, most likely a close friend or associate. His tone was angry, frustrated, and laced with hurt. "I don't care if he's my blood," Jim said. "I ain't raising no weak man. You want to talk about feelings? Then go cry to your mama." The internet erupted. The backlash was immediate. People accused Jim of being emotionally abusive, of perpetuating toxic masculinity, of refusing to take responsibility for the pain he caused. Some fans were heartbroken. Others were furious. Many who had started to warm up to the idea of a redemption arc for Jim suddenly turned cold. Forgiveness seemed further out of reach than ever. But what the fans didn't know was that this clip was taken completely out of context. Jim had indeed said those words, but it was from a conversation that took place months ago, at the height of their family tension. He wasn't talking about his son in that moment. He was talking about a situation involving a former business partner. Someone had edited the audio, trimmed it, and framed it as if it was recent. The betrayal cut deep. Even Jim, known for keeping his cool in public, lost his temper once the truth came out. "This is foul," he said in a quiet Instagram live. "This ain't just about me no more. This is about how far people will go to destroy you, especially when you're trying to do better." But the damage was done. People believed what they wanted to believe, and Jim's son, still vulnerable, saw the clip too. Sources close to him said he broke down when he heard it. He was just starting to trust again, one insider said, and it shattered him. Chrissy, who had been trying to hold the family together from behind the scenes, finally spoke up. She posted a lengthy message on her story, addressing the drama without naming names. "Healing ain't pretty. Families fall apart, but they can also come back together. Stop pouring gasoline on a fire you didn't start." The post went viral on its own, with fans split between those praising her strength and others accusing her of enabling Jim. Emotions were running high everywhere. Even some of Jim's closest industry friends began to distance themselves. A former collaborator unfollowed him publicly and tweeted, "Protect Black sons." Feeling the weight of it all, Jim decided to do something unthinkable. He offered to speak directly to his son. Not through Chrissy, not through lawyers, not through press statements, but face to face. He sent a handwritten letter asking for a private meeting. No cameras, no noise, just us. The son didn't respond for a while. Days passed, then a week. The media began reporting that the silence meant Jim had been rejected. Fans took it as a sign that reconciliation was impossible. But behind the scenes, something was shifting. The son had been talking to his therapist daily, trying to make sense of what he felt. He wanted to scream, to fight, to cry. But more than anything, he wanted clarity. He wasn't sure if he wanted to forgive, but he needed answers. Eventually, he agreed to meet, but only if the session was guided by a professional mediator. The meeting happened in an undisclosed location, away from the city, away from the flashing lights. No phones, no microphones, no entourage, just father and son. For the first 10 minutes, no one spoke. Jim looked older than usual, tired, worn out. His son looked guarded, arms crossed, eyes sharp. The mediator began slowly, encouraging both to speak without interruption. Jim went first. "I messed up," he said plainly. "I let my pride get in the way of being your father. I thought being tough was love. I thought protecting you meant controlling you. I didn't know how to be soft. I didn't know how to show you that I cared without yelling." His son didn't react right away, but his breathing changed, slower, heavier. "I was scared of becoming the man who raised me," Jim continued. "And in trying not to become him, I became him." Those words hit hard. His son finally spoke. "I didn't need you to be perfect. I just needed you to show up. Not with rules, not with lectures, just show up." The session lasted over 2 hours. There were tears, there were apologies, there was silence, and for the first time in what felt like years, there was understanding. When it ended, no one hugged, no one posed for pictures. But when they walked out of that room, something fundamental had shifted. They weren't fixed, but they were finally facing the same direction. News of the meeting didn't leak right away. It was kept quiet, sacred. But eventually, word began to spread. Fans noticed both Jim and his son had posted the same quote on their Instagram stories. "Healing isn't loud. It's quiet, slow, and real." That was all it took for the internet to light up again. Suddenly, the narrative started to change. People began praising the maturity it took to have that meeting. Mental health advocates used the story as a way to discuss the importance of Black men healing their inner wounds. Podcasts dedicated entire episodes to the evolution of the story. Some even called it the most real thing Jim has ever done. But just as the story was turning toward redemption, another twist emerged. A source close to the family came forward with a shocking revelation. Apparently, there had been a legal document filed behind the scenes, one that hinted at a custody dispute, not over a child, but over a joint business venture that Jim and his son had been secretly developing for over a year. The fight wasn't just personal, it was also professional. Fans were stunned. They had no idea the father and son had been working together. According to the source, the project was supposed to be a media company aimed at empowering young voices. The plan had been set in motion quietly, but once their relationship deteriorated, so did the deal. Now the question was, could they still do business together after everything that happened? Some fans said yes, others weren't so sure, and just like that, the drama took a new direction. Because now this wasn't just about forgiveness. It was about legacy, about trust, about money, influence, and whether two wounded men could rebuild something greater than their pain. But before any of those answers could come, another unexpected figure returned, someone from Jim's past, carrying secrets that could either save his family or destroy it forever. The unexpected figure was none other than Freddie, Jim's estranged older brother. For years, Freddie had lived in the shadows of Jim's fame, choosing a life far removed from the cameras and chaos. But now he had returned, and according to multiple sources, he wasn't just visiting, he had a purpose. Freddie had been watching the family's drama unfold from afar. He'd seen the fight, heard the leaked audio, and knew exactly how deep the scars ran between Jim and his son. But what no one knew was that Freddie held the missing piece that could change everything. Back when Jim and his son started their media company project, Freddie had been the silent partner. He was the one who helped secure funding through private investors. He was the one who wrote the original mission statement, and when things fell apart, he was the one left holding the contracts, quietly, legally, and without drama. But now that the public knew about the business, Freddie saw the opportunity to step forward, not to take control, but to force the two men to finish what they started. He requested a meeting with both of them. Jim was hesitant at first. His history with Freddie wasn't exactly smooth. There were unresolved childhood rivalries, old betrayals, and years of silence that neither brother had dared to break. But surprisingly, Jim's son agreed to it. He said, "Maybe it's time we stop pretending the past didn't happen." That comment alone pushed Jim to say yes. They met in a private location once again. No cameras, no press, just the three men seated around a table filled with old paperwork, memories, and decades of pain. Freddie didn't waste time. "I've got something to show you both," he said, pulling out a folder. Inside were original documents that proved all three of them had been listed as equal partners in the company. "You started this together," Freddie continued, "but you've both been acting like enemies. It's time to decide, do you want to fix the past or burn the future?" His words were heavy. Jim leaned back, staring at the ceiling as if trying to hold back the storm inside him. His son looked confused. "I didn't know you were involved," he said to Freddie. "You were never around." Freddie nodded. "I wasn't, and I regret that. But maybe this is my chance to be present. Not as your uncle, not as Jim's brother, but as someone who believes you two are capable of building something real." The meeting went on for hours. They discussed everything, from legal clauses to emotional trauma. And for the first time, Jim and his son started talking not as adversaries, but as collaborators. They brainstormed new ideas for the company. They envisioned a podcast where fathers and sons could talk about conflict, healing, and truth. They even considered filming a docuseries about their journey, not for clout, but to help others who might be silently suffering in broken families. Fans, of course, had no idea any of this was happening. To the outside world, Jim had gone radio silent. His social media posts had stopped. No new music, no interviews. It was as if he had vanished. The blogs speculated everything from rehab to retirement. But in reality, Jim was in the process of rediscovery. He was pouring his energy into rebuilding his relationship, not just with his son, but with himself. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, Jim returned to the public eye with a single video post titled Rebuild. It was just 2 minutes long. No flashy editing, no background music, just Jim sitting on a wooden chair, looking directly into the camera. Sometimes you have to break apart to understand what's worth keeping, he said. I'm not perfect. I've hurt people I love, but I'm not gonna run from it. I'm here to say we're still writing the story, and the next chapter's gonna be different. The video exploded online, millions of views in hours. The comments section was flooded with messages like, "We see your growth, and this is what accountability looks like." His son shared the video with a simple caption, "Let's build." From that moment, the energy shifted. Rumors began swirling that the father and son had resumed work on their media company. Fans speculated about upcoming content, potential interviews, even collaborations with other father-son duos in hip-hop. Behind the scenes, they were working non-stop. Producers were hired. A launch strategy was set. And then came the official announcement, a live panel event hosted in New York City, with both Jim and his son scheduled to speak for the first time publicly about their journey. The event was invitation only, but live-streamed for the world to see. When the day arrived, tension buzzed through the room. Celebrities, influencers, journalists, and everyday fans tuned in. Everyone wanted to know, was the drama truly over, or was this just another performance? The lights dimmed. A spotlight hit the stage. Jim walked out first, wearing all black, his expression serious but calm. Then his son appeared, standing a few feet beside him. They didn't hug. They didn't smile. They just looked at each other and nodded. The audience fell silent. Jim stepped up to the mic. "Months ago, I made the biggest mistake of my life," he said. "I let my anger speak louder than my love. I hurt someone who deserved better, and it took me losing almost everything to realize that's not the man I want to be." He paused. The room was still. His son spoke next. "I've been angry. I've been confused. But I've also grown, and I realized something. We don't heal in silence. We heal in truth. And today, this is our truth." They then announced the official launch of their new podcast series, titled Bloodlines. The first episode would drop that weekend, diving deep into their real-life journey from violence to vulnerability. Fans online went wild. Hashtags like #Bloodlines, #Jim Jones Redemption, and #FatherAndSomeHealing trended for hours. Clips from the panel were reposted everywhere. But perhaps the most powerful moment came at the end of the event. Just before leaving the stage, Jim turned to his son. He didn't speak into the mic. He just said, "Thank you for giving me a second chance." His son looked at him, eyes glossy, and whispered back, "Don't waste it." That image, a father and son standing side by side, bruised but rebuilding, became the symbol of a new chapter not only for them, but for families everywhere struggling in silence. Yet, as the world celebrated this moment of unity, whispers of another scandal began bubbling beneath the surface. Someone from Jim's inner circle had reportedly sold private text messages to a tabloid, messages that painted a very different picture of Jim's mindset during the early days of the fallout. While the messages hadn't been published yet, insiders warned they were explosive. And so, while the family stood stronger than ever before, another storm quietly brewed on the horizon, threatening to undo everything they had fought so hard to rebuild. As this intense chapter in Jim Jones' life comes to a close, fans are left with a swirl of emotions. From a shocking altercation that nearly tore a family apart to a public moment of healing and reflection, this story has been nothing short of unbelievable. The raw pain, the deeply personal confessions, the unexpected reappearance of a long-lost brother, and the emotional reunion between father and son, every twist has kept viewers glued to every update. But with whispers of more drama on the horizon, one thing is clear: this story is far from over. Will Jim be able to protect his family's newfound peace? Will the rumored text message leak spark another media frenzy? And can the father-son bond truly survive the pressures of fame, business, and betrayal? You've seen the highs, the lows, and the moments in between. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think Jim Jones has truly changed? Is this the redemption arc fans have been waiting for, or just another phase in a cycle of drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We're reading every single one. Don't forget to hit that like button if you were shocked, moved, or just plain entertained by this roller coaster. And if you're hungry for more explosive celebrity stories, behind-the-scenes secrets, and exclusive updates from the world of hip-hop drama, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next, because in the world of fame, family, and feuds, nothing stays hidden for long. Stay tuned, stay watching, and as always, we've got the real story, even when the cameras stop rolling.